Let's talk about GEVO. What's up investors and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about renewable energy Nasdaq listed company GEVO Inc. This stock has made incredible gains over the past year and has some major firms investing right now and still has huge potential for growth. So stick around and let me explain to you what I think of this company. I think you're going to like what I have to say. So today we'll be looking at what exactly GEVO do and their potential market. We'll look at the very latest news and recent financial reports. We'll look at what analysts think and do some technical analysis, and we'll briefly discuss the management team before I give you my conclusion on GEVO. Before we get into the video, if you like the content, can I ask you to smash that like button? It literally costs nothing and it helps me out so much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification so you never miss a video with the potential to make you money. Again, this is 100% free and another great way to show your support for the channel. What do you think of GEVO and what do you consider to be fair value for this stock? I want to point out I'm not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice, and I have no affiliation with GEVO. Now let's get into it. GEVO is a renewable chemicals and advanced biofuels company. Focused on sustainability, GEVO addresses the market need for reducing greenhouse gas emissions with sustainable alternatives and is commercializing the next generation of biofuels with diesel, gasoline and jet fuel that have the potential to achieve zero carbon emissions. GEVO uses low carbon renewable resource-based carbohydrates as raw materials and is developing renewable electricity and renewable natural gas for use in production processes, resulting in low carbon fuels with substantially reduced carbon intensity. Their products perform as well if not better than traditional fossil-based fuels in infrastructure and engines with the substantially reduced greenhouse gas emissions. GEVO believes that its proven patented technology enabling the use of variable and low carbon sustainable feedstocks to produce price competitive low carbon products. In addition to addressing the problems of fuels, GEVO's technology also enables certain plastics such as polyester to be made from more sustainable ingredients. GEVO currently operates two main plants, a biorefinery in Texas in collaboration with South Hampshire Resources Inc. to produce renewable jet fuel, octane and ingredients for plastics like polyester, and a plant in Minnesota that is situated among the cornfields. This ethanol plant was built to capitalize on the government regulations that encourage the use of ethanol blend stock in gasoline. GEVO have modified the plant to produce isobutanol. When the corn from the cornfield gets to plant, it is separated into its components and the starch goes into the fermentation process to produce biofuel, while the protein becomes animal feed that is fed back to the cows and used then to produce gas. I don't want to go into too much detail on the processes here because this is going to go on and I could talk for an hour on this alone. But if we look here, we can see this basic diagram of the company's structure from plants and CO2 all the way through to fuel. GEVO produces a range of products such as gasoline, diesel, isobutanol, ethanol, across a wide range of markets such as the marine, agriculture, the airline industry and the automotive industry, providing GEVO with an enormous total addressable market of 88 billion gallons per year. This diagram also shows the capacity of a single net zero plant, which we'll talk about now. Over the last few months, GEVO announced plans for their net zero project, and the first of these projects is expected to build a plant to produce energy dense liquid hydrocarbons using renewable energy and GEVO's technology. Net Zero 1 is expected to transform renewable energy into energy dense liquids. The name Net Zero 1 is a reference to the net zero greenhouse gas emissions expected over the whole life of the fuel product will produce, including the burning of the fuel in an engine or boiler. GEVO expects that Net Zero 1 will have capability to produce approximately 45 million gallons per year of jet fuel and renewable gasoline. In addition, Net Zero 1 is expected to produce at least 350 million pounds per year of high protein animal feed. As we said already, this protein feed can go back to feed the animals, of which goes into the production of the gas. GEVO has approximately 48 million gallons per year of signed contracts for a mix of jet fuel and renewable gasoline projects, representing approximately $1.5 billion of revenue across the life of the contracts. If GEVO secures additional take-or-pay contracts, they would have to acquire and develop additional net zero production sites. In other recent news, they announced the successful completion of Phase 1 of their JDA with Total Cray Valley. The companies are now seeking to advance to Phase 2 of the JDA, which will allow for the scale-up of GEVO's technology at a demonstration scale. Basically, this JDA is taking a low-value waste oil and converting it into a high-value chemical which in this case is isomelene. This is then used in a diverse set of applications, including resins, pesticides, flavors and fragrances, pharmaceuticals, healthcare products, adhesives, antioxidants and UV stabilizers. For Cray Valley, it is used as the raw material in resin manufacturing. Now, for anyone who thinks they missed the boat on GEVO because they didn't get in last year when this was below $1, look at the market cap. It's currently 1.36 billion. Compare that to Total, who we mentioned a moment ago in the JDA. They have a market cap of 101 billion. Now, I'm not saying that GEVO should be valued like Total. I just want to point out the growth potential for this company in the long term. They are only at the beginning right now. For instance, they only announced a breakthrough in recent weeks regarding the renewable natural gas project. Upon completion of the project in 2022, it will generate approximately 355 tons of RNG per year and reduce significant quantities of methane, a greenhouse gas, from being released into the atmosphere. After the methane is extracted from the processed manure, the remaining solids will be returned to the farmers as soil nutrients for use as fertilizer. This will allow the farmers to reduce their raw manure application, which will improve odor, water quality, and nutrient management practices. Now let's get on to the Q1 financial report from May 13th. So Net Zero 1 is on track to be completed by December 21, successfully broke ground and began construction of the RNG project, which we've already spoken about. They signed an amendment to the fuel sales agreement, contract worth up to 100 million of revenue over the life of the contract. But then also, in February, they issued a total of 68.1 million shares and raised nearly 460 million. Now, when you see this, you might think instantly that they've diluted shareholders, but think about it logically. This offering was made at a time when the share price had increased over 1000%. From an investing point of view, wouldn't you prefer to see the company raise 400 million by issuing a lower amount of shares when the price is high, rather than having to issue far more shares when the price is low? So I think it's a good thing that they raised that cash when they did it. Now, looking at the financial highlights. Ended quarter one with cash and cash equivalents of 500 million compared to 78 million as of Q4 2020. That comes largely from the share offering that we just mentioned. Revenue of 0.1 million for the quarter compared to 3.8 million the previous quarter. This is mainly due to GEVO terminated its production of ethanol and distiller grains in March 2020. Their facility is not currently producing ethanol but is performing maintenance in preparation for isobutanol production, expected to begin in June 2021. Currently, the Southampton facility is not producing renewable premium gas or fuel. Then we have the loss from operations of 9.9 million. Again, there's no revenue, but they are spending and investing going forward. Non-GAAP cash EBITDA loss of 7.8 million. And a net loss per share of 5 cents compared to 64 cents in Q1 2020. Although the net loss per share is far less than it was last year, this is due to the fact that there's far more shares now. At the moment, the weighted average number of common shares outstanding is 183 million as opposed to 14 million last year. The overall loss has actually increased, but the loss per share is down. Looking at the balance sheet, we can see that they have total assets of 609 million compared to total liabilities of only 13 million. Of this, 525 million is made up of cash and cash equivalents. Overall, this is an extremely strong balance sheet and provides GEVO with enough cash to pursue all its potential projects without having to require additional dilution. Looking at the income statement is pretty much what we'd expect to see from what we've already read. Revenue for the year was near non-existent. In fact, grant and government subsidies makes up the majority of the revenue. Over the course of the year, the company has made a total loss from operations of 9.8 million. This is made up of research and development and project costs, such as the RNG project and the JDA. Remember that we are investing in companies like these for their future potential, not their current profits. Looking at Simply Wall Street, we can see that the company currently has a fair value of $41.92, meaning that the current price is nearly 84% undervalued. When we look at the ownership breakdown, we can see the general public owns about 72% of the shares, whereas institutions and insiders own the remainder of the shares. Of the top 25 shareholders, State Street Global Advisors and Vanguard Group own over 10%, while other notable investors include BlackRock, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citadel, and Citigroup. These are all major investors who have armies of financial advisors and financial analysts to pick the best stocks to invest in. Looking at tip ranks, we have 2 price targets set over the past 3 months. The average price target is $17 with a high forecast of 18 and a low forecast of 16, which represents a 147% increase from its last price of $6.87. We can see here that GEVO is currently trading in the lower half of both its 50-day range and 52-week range. It has average daily volume of 24 million shares and market capitalization of 1.36 billion. There has been no recent ratings or price targets set, with the H.C. Wainwright buy rating and price target of $18 set back in February. The company is led by CEO Patrick Gruber. Dr. Gruber has over 2 decades of experience. Prior to joining the team, he was the president and CEO of Outlast Technologies, and he co-founded NatureWorks, formerly known as Cargill Dow. In 2011, he was awarded the University of Minnesota Outstanding Achievement Award and was also awarded the first ever George Washington Carver Award, recognizing significant contributions by individuals in the field of industrial biotechnology and its application in biological engineering, environmental science, biorefining, and bio-based projects. Then we have Chief Operating Officer Chris Ryan. He has over 22 years of experience in strategic leadership, business development, and research and product development in bio-based materials. He served for 4 years in corporate R&D for H.B. Fuller and was also the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Technical Officer at NatureWorks. If you want to know more about the management team at GEVO, and the management section of this website has lots of details on each member of the team. Between them, they are vastly experienced across several different industries. So looking at this chart, over the past year we can see that GEVO was trading around $1 and in December 2020 began to rise before hitting its peak of over $15 in February, before the market correction sent the majority of growth stocks tumbling. We can see here that downward movement in this channel right up until the earnings report that was released. Between this earnings report and the huge increase in daily volume, GEVO went from its low point of about $4.50 up to its current price of $6.86. I expect that we might start to see this stock rise again in the coming weeks, as its decline in share price seems to be coming at an end. I expect to see confidence come back into the market and into this stock in particular as we get closer to more progress being made on both the renewable natural gas project and the JDA. So guys, that brings us to the end of the video. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and bell notification. I'll be running a competition with prizes next month for subscribers. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment to take part. More details in the coming weeks. I hope you enjoyed the content. Drop it a like if you did. And I hope that I've shared some information with you that you weren't already aware of and that you found value in this video. So what do I think? I like what this company is trying to do. Over the past few years, the world has taken a very serious approach towards climate change and air pollution in general. Over the past 12 months, we've seen in the stock market, specifically with the emergence of the EV boom last year, and then the boom of everything else to do with the EV market, such as charging stations and the batteries themselves. But overall, this shift towards EV is in reaction to global warming and the push to become net zero carbon. GEVO's project is significant and it aims to have a net zero greenhouse gas footprint, which would have a massively significant impact on a global scale. I can see the share price increasing in the second half of this year, with work on the projects expected to be completed in December and the RNG project beginning to generate revenue in late 2022. I see this as a long-term hold, not one to invest in if you're planning to sell again within weeks. But this is just my opinion. If anyone is thinking about buying the stock, I encourage you to form your own opinion through research, and do not take this video in any way as financial advice. Thanks for watching the video. What are your thoughts on the future of GEVO and what are your price targets? Catch you in the next one.